Jesus, I think, put mud on his eyes and told him to go and wash. This guy comes back, and this guy says he can see a bit better, but he sees trees. But the trees over there are actually people. So the healing hadn't fully yet come. He still needed to go back again and get his eyes washed. I'm paraphrasing the story, right? So what's happening a lot of the times is, I feel like that has happened in a lot of people's lives, is that their eyes have been opened, but it's still blurry. They still see people as trees, meaning they still see people as objects to be used and to be utilized, right? So they see people like trees, and Jesus wants to give us a new pair of eyes that we can begin to see people the way he sees them. That you can begin to see even your enemies the way he sees his enemies. That you would be given a pair of new ears. Doesn't mean that your old ears are going to now fall off, and no, but you receive new spiritual ears in order that you can hear the voice of the Lord, that you can hear the voice of your shepherd so clearly that you know that this is the next step. And yes, there will still be a bit of fear. There will be still a bit of, oh, is God going to come through? But just knowing that you can hear his voice and having faith that, listen, whatever he said, he's going to do. So we might as well take the next step. And which leads to a particular story. I don't know if we're going to get back to Acts or Reach, but a particular story in the Bible, which has been so fascinating to me, is the story of the three Jewish boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. All right, as Daniel chapter 3. So this whole story happens where there's a king at the time, King Nebuchadnezzar. Aren't you glad that your surname is not Nebuchadnezzar? Like, imagine trying to spell that in grade 1. Like, how long that would take. But anyway, so King Nebuchadnezzar is there, and this guy is just, evil. And he builds this huge statue, and the order of the day is that everyone is supposed to bow down at this particular statue. These three Jewish boys, they have a conviction inside their heart. They're like, they ain't doing that. So that gets them into a lot of trouble, which leads to this particular point, that it is wrong to think that you can have a conviction in your heart by God and not be misunderstood. It is guaranteed that you will be misunderstood. It is guaranteed that people will take things completely, sometimes out of context, because of the conviction that you carry inside of your heart. If they misunderstood Jesus, my friend, guaranteed they will also at times misunderstand you. My wife and I also, more recently, we also watched another movie, and in this particular movie, we had to switch the whole thing off, because in the movie, you can blatantly begin to see that they are making a mockery of God, right? And the following day, God had shared a brief little revelation there to make me see and understand some things, that if they are blatantly mocking him in Hollywood, in movies, in shows and so forth, what on earth makes you think that you yourself will not get mocked? If they blatantly mock God on television, in social media world, what makes you think that you yourself will not get mocked if you carry his name? Of course you'll get mocked. But therefore see it as something to rejoice in, that you can suffer for his name. Because if you share in his suffering, my friend, best believe that you will also share with him in his glory. Right? And the glory far outweighs the suffering. The Bible says, Romans 8 says, I think it's 8 verse 19 says, that our present suffering is nothing compared to the glory that is going to be revealed. All right? So these three Jewish boys, they're there, they refuse to bow to this statue, and it gets them into a lot of trouble, to the extent that the king then says, listen, we're about to chuck you guys into the fiery furnace. Right? Into the giant Weber. So they take these three Jewish boys. The fire at this Weber is so hot that the soldiers that were going before them, that opened up this thing, they themselves got killed. That's how hot the fire was. Right? They then tie these three Jewish boys up, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they chuck them into the fire. Next thing, King Nebuchadnezzar is shocked. He maybe feels like he skipped maths class in grade 1, because he put 3 guys in there, but yet now he sees that there's actually a 4th guy in the fire. He put 3 in, but now there's 4. Now the 4th man over there, we know it's God who was present with them. Right? King Nebuchadnezzar has the shock of his life, and he says, okay, bring these boys out. They bring these kids out. They don't even smell like smoke. Their hair isn't even singed. Now, I don't know, you obviously had a braai this past weekend. So when you stand next to a braai, when you leave the braai area, you usually smell like smoke. These boys were literally in the braai. And they came out, they didn't even smell like smoke. King Nebuchadnezzar's like, Yitte, whoever mocks their God, whoever speaks badly against their God must be put to death. And sort of promote them in the same day, that same time, get them promoted, right? But there's a particular verse that I want to share with you as we close. And the verse is this. It says, when they were confronted by King Nebuchadnezzar, these 3 Jewish boys, they said these words, paraphrase. They said, "We will not bow down to the statue because our God will deliver us." Right?